To be honest, guys, I am so tired. I was not gonna do this. I'm like yawning and stuff. I'm the High Priestess Phoenix, your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, all of that bullshit. Lilith reincarnated. In order to keep up with me, you would have had to catch my last live video when I said I was gonna do this shit. I really wasn't gonna do it. I know I said I was, but I got tired. And then I posted something about they're gonna have this new F1 arcade bar in Colorado, and I was like, oh, seems like something that you would go on a date with Lewis to. And I ended up in Lewis's page. Lewis is lovely, isn't he? I love Lewis with all my heart. And he just sparked this whole teaching that, a kind of a closure, and made me have to keep teaching. Lewis is a prime example of what we've been teaching all week. It's like speaking your truth and walking away and standing up and owning your fire. Lewis is my Capricorn. With his elevated status, yeah, naturally. But my biggest complaint with Lewis is that he doesn't harness his fire. He doesn't operate out of anger. He's all motherfucking love and light. He denies himself the actual feeling of it. You can go over to each of them deny their feelings, and that's what I'm meant to do, is liberate them and allow their feelings to be heard. They're men that just deny their feelings. Lewis has been, I was about to say castrated from a young age, because he was minority. He had to be on special behavior. The utmost perfect behavior. Why? Because he already stood out. So he had to act, extremely accordingly to, beyond the rule book. He had to follow the rules but be extraordinary in it to be accepted into his fields. And he had to break all norms by doing it, by just playing by the rules. And with that being said, Lewis does what he's told, and he doesn't cause no fuss, and he doesn't talk back, and he doesn't get angry, and he doesn't act out of any of those type of emotions. So you have Lewis on one spectrum, and you have Marshall on the other. They can learn a lot from each other, but they're exactly the opposite in the essence, as far as harnessing feelings. So we were talking about, saying no. Does Lewis say no to people? No, he does not. Does he stand up to authority? No. He's an advocate. He advocates, but he advocates for change, but he doesn't, he doesn't start the fires or any of that shit. He'll support the cause, but he's not going to get his hands dirty or any of that stuff. And he's just, his kindness is a weakness. It's an extreme weakness. He doesn't honor the power of his voice. He doesn't honor his feelings. He doesn't honor that things make him, or, I don't know if he just stays in hurt and it doesn't channel into anger, or if he denies both. But he denies himself anger at all costs. And that can cost him a lot. So that's what kind of started all this. It's like, I love Lewis to death, but Lewis doesn't have a spine. Lewis will always talk you off the ledge, dude, because he's been told to never get near that fucking edge, because he'll lose it all. Truthfully. You know what I mean? Talking about someone that has too much to lose. He does. Not really, because he's stacked it all quite lovely. But in essence, he's worked too hard. He's worked harder than all of you to be an icon around the world, to be respected and favored and loved. You know what I mean? And it was never nothing but authentic. He was a little bit cocky in his 20s, but he grew out of that quite quickly. he still wasn't, you know what I mean, a jerk off. You can't put him and Kanye, even though he did. You know what I mean? These are two, again, polar opposites in the sense of voice, the power of the voice. He's more, I guess, he'll just take it in. He won't blow it out. It's like, how do you help him? Yeah, that one? Nah, bro. That's all kinds of different fears. All kinds of different fears that none of us have really... I mean, there's people that can relate, but in the sense of, you know, he's beyond programmed. He's like drill sergeant trained, programmed. He's like Marine washed. That's the thing we have out here, Lewis. Our highest level of freaking, you know, we have all of our military. The Marines are the worst. For real? Yeah, they program them as straight killers. They fucking totally Marine wash them, is what they call them. And that's him. It's like, you know, he is taught to be that way and never to go against the way that things are. Not only because, you know, he was taught in his culture, but even experiencing all the different cultures. You know, he is an advocate, you know what I mean? Like I said, he'll advocate, like, pride and stuff like that. But he won't start any fights. Not never. Not never, ever. He'll never act in anger. Never? No. That's dangerous. It's the same as never crying. And then, you know, then there's Ali, too. Ali doesn't get angry. He gets hurt. And he doesn't speak up, and that's what his whole catalog is about. Not being able to tell them. Not being able to use his words to speak his feelings when he needed to most. His whole catalog is about letting, you know, love slip through his hands because he couldn't, you know what I mean, speak up. It doesn't sound like he didn't know how, it's that he couldn't speak on it. I get that. I can see that. And then you have, you know what I mean, Russ. I cannot visually see this man crying, tapping into his actual pain. And as a disassociated person, you know what I mean, it's easy for me to resonate with them, how to turn off your feelings. But you need to turn them on. They're important. And that's what we've been talking about all week. As I'm saying this, my whole heart chakra is breaking. He's not the type to raise his voice, not to curse, he'll just implode, not explode. But the question is, what does that do to him? To just keep all that in. That's a lot. Always being told how to act, what to dress, you know what I mean? It's not even, I would say it's probably a paranoia. And then I can see Marshall. Marshall's, like, you wouldn't believe it, but yeah, he's very self-conscious. It's not put into the clothes he wears, but it is. He's very self-conscious about his appearance and how he's presented and how, you know what I mean, people stare at him, how they receive him. You wouldn't expect it after so many years of being in the spotlight, but they're not comfortable with their position. And that's Lewis. Lewis knows he has to smile big for the camera. You know what I mean? He knows exactly how to hold himself in and how to, you know, walk down the fucking red carpet. He's been trained wisely on how to do this. They've been walking his ass down carpets. You know what I mean? Giving him the red carpet treatment since the beginning. He's nothing less. You could teach him how to be ghetto, but it would just puzzle him. I think, you know, I did a joint rolling. They're showing me when I did that. There's a short in my shorts that I showed everyone how to roll a joint. God told me how to teach everyone how to roll a joint. It's like there's something Lewis Hamilton has never seen. He doesn't hang around people smoking weed and shit like that. Never learned that before. It could come in handy one day. I suppose. It's just, you know what I mean? It's cultural shock for him. He comes from a different country of poverty. He knows about American culture and, you know what I mean, and all of that, but he's never really fully until diving into some of that shit. And that's, you know, when he makes good connections with Americans that, you know, open up and share their stories with him, then he can kind of get, you know. But again, he's disassociated by a whole ocean. Many. He's always, you know what I mean? He's lived in a different fucking reality forever. Asking him to break his is like, enough. They're so programmed, bro. It's weird. It's like they were told this is how they have to live, and this is how they live, and they just follow man. And in following man, they abandon themselves and God. That's the only problem that's going on here. That's the only problem. Can you turn it down, baby? Is that you, in your pursuit of pleasing man, you have abandoned yourself and you have abandoned God and the calling and purpose that he gave you with all the power. Amen. It's over. That's it. The end of the book. Why? Because of that. You abandon your feelings, and that's who you really are. That's what everything is your feelings. And you abandon them to please everyone else. And by abandoning them, you abandon your connection to God and yourself. Your mind's, here comes R. Kelly, your mind's telling you no, but your heart's telling you yes, and you don't honor your heart. We talked about that in my earlier video, the artificial heart. You turn it off. You turn its cries off. You turn its desires off. You turn its pain and anger. You turn it off so that you can look good to everyone else. You walk around as a fucking robot, a sex bot. Oh, man. It's not like I want him to be angry. Like I want to sit there and piss him off. I have fun pissing off fucking, you know, Marshall. I'm not trying to piss him off. It's just, I'm sure life pisses you off. Traffic, something's got to piss you off. But you don't act like nothing bothers you. And being unbothered is not tapped in. I mean, in that sense, it's like, I guess that kind of sounds contradictory coming from someone that's like me that is unbothered. No, I experience the rises and stuff. I just don't let it, you know, the experience crush me. But I definitely experience the emotional ups and downs of it, and I allow myself to flow with this experience and experience these emotions because I haven't. And the more that you experience them, the more that they aren't so traumatic. As your inner child is experiencing things, you know, being heard for the first time ever. Or your warrior is being heard. And that's what it is. Lewis, you can't be a warrior without that fire, bro. Can I say something that's going to hurt your feelings? Max wins because he has fire. He doesn't mind. He gets out there and he gets pissed. He's pissed. And that's what gets him going. And he's willing to break, you know, cut the corners and, you know what I mean, the rules and run you off the fucking road because he's pissed. His fuel is not the same as yours. Yours is fear and desperation. His is anger and determination. And that's what makes Marshall so much more powerful as a rapper. It's the fuel behind his words. It's the anger. It's the real, raw feeling behind his words. And that's what I say is you can't walk it because you can't talk it. Going back to Ali. Ali's never going to be like, you're fucking tripping. Like raise his voice at me and tell me to calm down. If you can't tell me, who else can't you tell? You just let people act all wild out? You just let them wild out? That's a bit much. Much. It's true. Anger is, that's something Marshall and I can teach you, is how powerful anger is. But, I had to channel all that. I had to go through all that anger to get to all the love. And now I'm trying to explain to you how powerful love is. And what it really is, and not what we thought it was. And where you really experience it, and not how we thought we were supposed to look for it. Shit like that. In this moment, I say that Lewis loves everybody but himself. That's not the same as some of my twin flames, where they love nobody but themselves. They put themselves above all others. That's not... Lewis puts everybody else above himself. It's just... seriously. If he was a president, he'd be like Trump and do whatever people said. Any person that could get to him, he'd do his best to honor them and make that change for them. Truthfully. He wouldn't fight with other people. He would try to negotiate and come to some kind of agreement. He's not a fighter. And you see him in his position and you believe that he is. But it's that thing. It's like those that don't plan. It's like he had to channel that fight somewhere. And that's, that was Kobe too, and that's any black man in power. They have to channel it somewhere safe, because if they just let it out, they're going to lose their place of power. Because they're put at a different standard. They're really held to the fire to act whiter than any white person that ever existed, to be honest. To play by their rules and, all that fucking shit. Simplistic things. I'm seeing, what's his name? Oh, come on, Kobe, what's his name, bro? Give me a second. I'm not good with names. I'm seeing all kinds of names pop in my head right now. Hold on. I can't remember. The basketball player that dyed his hair and fucking dressed up and all of that stuff. I can't remember his name. I'm seeing him quite perfectly, but I can't remember his name. You know what I mean? That was insulting to, the NBA, but he just was being creatively expressive through his game. It didn't change his game, it just him being, expressing himself through it was, frowned upon and shit. Like, no, you can't do that. What's his name? Rodman. Dennis Rodman. Thank you. Jesus. For some reason, I had something with an R. I was seeing RuPaul. It's like Pictionary, dude. It's like playing fucking Scrabble and shit. You're like, what's his fucking name? Yeah, Dennis Rodman and shit like that. You're not supposed to act out when you're in these positions, and that's what happened with Kanye. You better act accordingly, motherfucker. And he didn't. And that's just the thing, and that's what I told Kanye. Just stop fucking throwing a fit, bro. That's just, you didn't play by their rules, and this is what happens, and just fucking, cut the loss and move on. But yeah, in order to be in their game, you have to play their rules, and if you're a minority, or if you're a black man, or if you're just an outsider in general, they're gonna even hold you under more scrutiny. So you don't act more stupidly. As I heard Kanye. Isn't that weird? What's weird? Lewis made music. Lewis makes music. He's a creative. And he only took it to fucking Kanye. And then we never heard the music. It's like, what the fuck you thought Kanye was gonna do with your music? Oh, I think he's so creative. I mean, he was, but, Kanye is gonna get mad at me. Shut up, Kanye. You can't think straight, bro. Because you're not channeling your feelings, you're channeling your stupid thoughts. Same as the rest of them, fuckhead. Don't get mad. Get healed. Alright, so with all that being said, he gave me all the inspiration to wake up and talk about it, and it was really just a talk to him, but since I'm already talking, we're going to talk about what we were supposed to talk in the Pleiadian workbook, which was your sub-personalities, harmonizing them. Dolphin moves? Not right now. Not right now. The Chamber of Light. Okay, so I didn't really never access none of these chambers. I was making fun of them. I was like, the Chambers of Secrets. And there's a bunch of these Chambers of Light. And that's what I told you. I didn't understand that, but I'm stuck with Metatron and the light. And he kept showing me the Merkaba. And Merkaba is literally the light body. And that's why I was like, okay, I get this now. I've said it for more than 3 days. You know what I mean? That I've been in this like cocoon, this cave where I'm just like so fucking centered and nothing's penetrating and I'm just all in my own little universe in here and it's just me and the light beings. And that's what I was trying to explain. So, from our Pleiadian book, page 229, Subpersonality Harmonization Chamber of Light. This chamber session is ideal to do after meeting each individual aspect of your personal shield for the first time. Subsequently, after balancing your shield. The focus of the Superpersonality Harmonization Chamber is to redistribute energies, open and soften inner communication, and bring you back into balance with yourself. I always find that I feel more in self-affinity and more like myself after experiencing one of these chambers sessions. You may like to work with your own inner voices and subpersonalities to do subpersonality harmonization chamber sessions. Whatever. Meeting your inner nurturer. Let's just jump past this. Do we want to meet the inner nurturer first? Or we want to meet your inner child or your inner warrior? You're probably going to need your nurturer first. Your divine feminine. First direction to work with is the south, which is the practice represents the earth element. Earth is the source point to your physical birth and your connection with the physical mother and the goddess, your physical body, grounding, security, nurturing. From the south, you receive food, shelter, clothing, and all things physical. In the medicine wheel teaching, you honor and thank the south or the earth for all of the gifts and sustenance, including your body, which sustains your spirit. The subpersonality that lives in the south part of your medicine wheel is your inner nurturer. Your inner nurturer is part of you that knows about and takes care of your needs, as well as keeps other parts of your personality in balance. If you are out of touch with your inner nurturer, you tend to be out of balance in life. You may experience symptoms such as feeling overly needy of attention and nurturing from others because you're not giving these things to yourself. Sounds like Ross. Okay, maybe your whole life focuses on work and you never take time to play or spend intimate time with yourself or your loved ones. When you're out of balance and you get in touch with your inner nurturer, Marshall, I've never seen you do much with your fucking family. You took them to some football games, but you never really spend time with family. I'm not even going to get into the whole list of how you guys don't spend time with your family. He or she knows what is needed to bring you back into balance. Even if your needs are emotional or spiritual, your inner nurturer keeps track of your overall balance and well-being. If your needs are specific to self-nurturing, you may need to get more massages or take quiet, unscheduled time alone. We talked about that today, is the silence. Perhaps your diet is not truly nurturing your body and giving you what you need. That's it too. You restrict your body from good stuff. What did I have? Well, yesterday I said something about cinnamon raisin bread, so I got that tonight. And I have some pecan, because I didn't get pecan, nothing. Cream cheese, but I was all stuffed up, so I've been eating beans all day. Really? Yeah, I had like chili, and then I had burritos. And that's just it. You know what your body needs. It's like, I can't eat any cheese. But I will save that for the next time. Why? Because I ate too much cream cheese yesterday. I like cream cheese, and my body can't take it. But I balance it out. And that's what it is. It's like, I know how to balance this out. My inner nurture, my mommy knows how to take care of this. What did I have for dinner? I don't remember. don't remember. Sorry, I can't think. Really? Yeah, I think that was it. Just chili and bean burritos. That's all I had. Why? Because I told you. And then that's what I'm going to have. I have all kinds of weird stuff. My body tells me what to eat. Maybe you need to take long baths. Yep. Or do yoga. Or sing. Or play music more. I don't really be singing too much. Like, I mean, I do a lot of it. A lot of talking and stuff. And I sing in my videos. But I do a lot of dancing. Whatever you need, your inner nurturer knows if this subpersonality has become extremely dysfunctional or damaged. Communication can be confusing at first. He or she may be hurt or frustrated and not want to talk to you. This is a symbolic reflection of the fact that you're feeling betrayed and angry with yourself for not paying attention to your own needs. Damn, I guess this is it. And that's your inner critic. It hates you because you don't take care of it. Really? If you took care of yourself more, you would love yourself more. And it's simple shit like this. Taking long baths, singing, playing music, you know what I mean? Eating the foods that you need. Not, you know, kind of not giving a fuck, but giving a fuck because you need to take care of yourself. That's where it is. I was like at 9 o'clock, I was in my fucking onesie jammies. I don't give a fuck what the fuck y'all are doing on a Friday night. I'm tired. A bitch is tired. For real, I don't give a fuck what's going on. I gotta take care of myself and shit. He or she may be hurt. If you can take responsibility without guilt for creating the dilemma, the subpersonality will usually come around and tell you what is needed and why he or she feels so out of balance. Remember, and that's it. When you ever just sit there and be like, what's wrong with you? And just ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Listen, you know you're all acting all crazy and shit and you don't feel good and you're acting like a... Well, I mean, us women can recognize it. I can. I hope you men can. You're like, damn, I feel all fucked off. What's wrong with me? Or you could wait till somebody else asks you and get all defensive. But sometimes you just gotta ask yourself, what's wrong with me? And let yourself tell you the answer. Whether you're meditating indoors or doing vision quests outdoors to meet your inner nurture, your other subpersonality or other subpersonalities, write down your questions on a piece of paper, leaving space between the questions to record the answers you are given so you will have them to refer back to. In the beginning, I had more than just the basic personalities, and they were going crazy, and I had papers of it, I had books of it where I had to write down what they were saying. There was all of them and where the thoughts would jump to. And all of them had to be heard. And that was, I can specifically remember one about Bobby. There was so much. It went on for 2 pages. They all had fucking something that, you know, paragraphs to be heard about how I felt about this situation. And I had to sit there and, you know, hear it and see it. Following are steps to meeting your inner nurturer. After you found a spot in nature where you feel connected to the earth element or are comfortably seated indoors in your quest, center yourself and go into a meditative state. What does that mean? Just chill, bro. Fucking chill. And that could be in the bath. That could be just sitting there looking, you know, in quiet, listening to some music, or not. That could be staring at a candle. That could be outside, just staring outside. Not so much in the day, because there's a lot of things moving around. It'll catch your eyes. But at night, just in the dark. Alright? Send your prayers of gratitude to planet Earth and the Earth element and the direction of south in your own way. I don't really do anything of that. I love the Earth and it knows it. You may also say other prayers and invocations at this time. Ask your inner nurturer to come forth so that you may see and communicate with him or her. When an image or voice comes into focus, refer to your paper and ask the following questions. Write down the answers you receive. And that's really what it is like getting to know yourself and all the parts of it. Dude, I just want to point out again, my flowers, do you see how big that fucking white rose is blooming? It is as big as my hand. They're really blowing up. Really? Yeah. I mean, most of them, they just die, and that's okay. But those are really blowing up. Really pretty. Just noticed that. Sorry. I just can't help but notice that they're like blowing up. Alright, here's your questions. What is your name? Because they see themselves different from you. They're a part of you. They're separate from you. How are you? What do you need? What do you want? Is there anything else you would like to share with me at this time? Close the quest in whatever way feels appropriate to you. Tell your inner nurturer when you plan to return. So this is part of it. It's like, you know, I mean, you don't have to ask it its name, perhaps, but it will. You'll see it as something separate. And you ask, you know, you just check in with yourself. And we talk about this all the time. Ask yourself, you know, I don't have to. I hear myself. It's like, you know, I'm tired. Okay, I feel that. Let me lay my body down. I'm hungry. Okay. I'm bored. Okay. You know what I mean? I hear the I. I hear the I. You know what I mean? I honor that I feel some type of way all day. You know, and I listen to it, and I tell it if I can give it, if it's necessary to give it something. Other time it just wants attention. You know what I mean? I'm bored. Okay, well, let's do something productive. Let's go do a reading or something. Okay, and that's it. It's like, it doesn't have to do something specific. It's just telling you it wants to do something. It wants activity. You know what I mean? It tells you if it wants to go outside. I want to go for a walk. I want to go to the store. I want to paint my nails. Okay. I guess. Whatever. It's not necessarily my wants. It's just, you know, personalities, like conscious, you know, needs, I suppose. I guess. That's how it is. It's like something simplistic, like tonight, I want to put on socks. Why? It's because I want my feet covered. Like, I hear myself say it. I want to put on socks. I want my feet covered. Okay? And then it'd be like, you know, that's it. I listen to my wants and my needs. I don't have to ask what I want. Sometimes I do, and I'm all tripped out and like, what's wrong with me? And then I gotta listen. Okay, I know what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Sometimes you don't, you just gotta listen. The first time you do this chamber session, do it after meeting one of your four sub-personalities. You'll use the same opening steps you use for all chamber sessions. These steps are given at the beginning of Chapter 9. We're in Chapter 11. The appropriate time, simply ask the sub-personality, whatever, around your entire body and aura. Then relax and open the receptive next 20 minutes to an hour. When you are experiencing time shortage, you may specifically ask that the session only be 20 minutes long. Otherwise, allow for full time and enjoy the session however long. Jesus Christ. I saw that at the beginning of this. I'm like, whoa. I can't tell you how long you spend with all of this. Alright, so that was in the beginning of, you know, before you do this. Alright, now, close your quest in whatever way feels appropriate to you. Tell your inner nurturer when you plan to be back. Optional. You may choose to invoke the Pleiadian emissaries of light, your higher self, or ascending master Jesus Christ at this time, and ask him to place you inside the sub-personality harmonization chamber of light. Well, I guess if you're going to ask anyone, you better ask Jesus. Jesus, take me to the light. Take me down to the paradise. Sorry, I have lots of fun with them. I know, you're like, you speak to Christ like that. I mean, we've talked about all kinds of stuff. Well, we're not going to meet your inner child right now because I'm already being a child, and I don't want to talk to my inner child right now because I told you, my inner child don't ever shut up. Let's move over to the Melchizedek Order. So that's what it is just honoring yourself, dude. Your self is your conscious. There's the conscious, which is your brain, and your emotions. Your brain causes your emotions. The conscious and all the thoughts and the voices and all that comes out of the brain, right? There's a whole different language that comes out of your heart. There's a whole different language. You have to start by honoring your basic, you know, senses. You know, when you're tired, you honor you're tired. When you're hungry, when something smells funky, when you're hot, you know what I mean? When you're angry and you're sad, all these things. Lewis denies himself. I mean, I don't think he needs meat, but he denies himself sweets. Every kid needs sweets, bro. Honestly, yeah, it's this joke. He really loves Nutella. So I always make this joke. I'm like, I'm going to cover myself in Nutella and make you lick it off. Sounds delicious, right? Be as dark as you. I'll be the darkest chocolate you ever tasted. Anyways, oh, Russell, somebody call Russ and his mommy issues. We're telling him to leave home, separation, and finding the way back. Where are we? I don't know. Jesus. This is where you are, on page 90 of the Melchizedek Order. Most people I meet on this earth plane do not love themselves. They don't believe that they are worthy of being loved and having love or expressing love, and they create accordingly. This is not the truth, but it is their truth. So home is choosing to love yourself unconditionally without any reservation whatsoever. Reservations are conditions, and the Melchizedek's job, and the job of the other Christed beings, is to encourage us to embrace the idea that that to be equal with God is not a sin. And that's why I said, you talk to Jesus. Oh, come on, bro. I come running to him all the time about how much I hate God. Really? Well, who else are you supposed to? He didn't hate him. God did you so dirty. How? And the chief says, how? I really do. I'd be like, I pray to Jesus all the time. How, bro? Why? That's Lewis. He's so fucking Christ-like. You drive me crazy, Lewis. Lewis is so Christ-like, isn't he, though? As we were talking about it. He just has to honor it. He doesn't have to act in it. He just has to honor it. Honor his true feelings. He's very Christ-like. Lewis, for sure, bro. He'll cry with me about some shit. We will both cry about it. He's so sad. We weep for you. Weep, weep, weep. Alright, anyways, the Christed beings is to encourage us to embrace the idea that we are equal to God is not a sin. It is a responsibility. As a created being, you are responsible for everything you think, feel, say, or do, because you are expressing yourself into the universe. And I shared something about that. It's like the universe got you. All they want you to do is control your fucking thoughts. That's like throwing a stone into a still pond. You get a splash with the waves and ripples. So too, every impulse that you imagine affects the entire universe. God is not permitted of itself to come into your reality without your permission, but you have the ability to choose union with God at any moment, and that is instantaneously granted to you by God itself. And that's where it is. They cannot force you. Your angels cannot. They cannot. They can guide you. And God is never away from you. You just choose not to have him active in your life. He's not away from you. You just choose to be away from him. And that's it. He can't assert himself in your life, even though he's very assertive in your life. You don't really see it so much as I do. But that's just how it is. This is not a maybe. It is a law of cause and effect, a constant. Some people call that grace, but there's only love, and you can choose to not be loved. And that's it. Do you receive his message of love? His promises? Do you receive him? You have to, in essence, you're invoking him. And that's what I said earlier this morning. People are always calling in the name of Christ. I'm praying in the name of Christ. I'm asking my angels and you're, God, I'm asking for your mercy. I'm asking for your grace. I'm asking for your blessings. They're asking God to work in their life. The problem is they don't see his mercy, his grace, and his blessings. They're expecting it to be more monetary. And he is. He's doing all that. They don't see him and hear him as they pray to him and ask for him. They're looking for him in different ways. They don't see his ways. Truthfully, that's what we were talking about this morning. And I was like, that's sad. At the same time, I can't get him to leave me alone. I'm like, fucking God, stop it. Anyways, and that's where it is. It says, seek God in all things. Bring him into your life to show you. Stop thinking you know it all and ask God what to do. And when he tells you what to do what he says. And you know what I mean? And you'll be pleased and so will he. It works out. It's a relationship, though. You work with the Creator instead of creating your own madness and expecting him to come clean it up, which he does too. Fucking God. So home is where the heart is, where God is. Home is where unconditional love resides. That is unconditional love. Every single star in the universe is a son of God's issue. And every star emits the energy called neutrions. Stop it. Here we are back with Metatron. And I said this. Is anybody remembering this? Neutrions, which is an unconditional love. So the whole universe is constantly recreating itself with unconditional love. Unconditional love. We are part of that, and we have the ability to imagine that we are not. In our imagination, we create the not that we live in, and so it is. Our not can go for tens of thousands of years. I believe God's desire is that we avoid choosing separation, but to choose separation, you can learn a lot. You can learn pain, you can learn joy, and you can learn loneliness. You can learn a lot of things that maybe you didn't need to learn, but you chose to learn. But like, Siddhartha Gautama, who became Buddha, you can realize oneness by your own free will choice. Why did we ever choose to separate from God? That is, if it is all God and all is good, then why are we here? Why did we ever choose to come here? From what I understand, this planet is unique. There is only one thing this in all of God's body. This planet, in fact, is a schoolroom. In the frequency of the energy of the matrix of what's available here, it allows your free will to come here and choose to learn about greed, ego, the opportunity for responsible creation, unconditional self-love, and a million other things. Alright. Everything else was created in divine order, and it must stay in that order. The only thing that broke the order was the fight in the Orion fight, Lucifer, myself. Throughout history, not many broke the order. Everything was created in order and stayed in that order, solid. He created Earth with the ability, it was chaos, free will. You could experience what it meant to be God and make choices, create, have all of his powers to create whatever world you wanted, whatever reality. He had created all these realities, and he gave the human race the ability to have his power and free will. The fall of Lucifer was his free will. We weren't allowed free will. Supposedly my fall was, and it's not my fall, it was my rise, was my free will. I executed my free will as soon as I got here. I chose not to follow the commandment of Adam. I disobeyed God by doing it. But I wasn't persecuted because and I used it to the fullest. I fucked it up all the way, but so did, you know what I mean? That's what it is. And when the free will when they took it and were destroying too many people with it, he had to start over. But he never took away your free will. He never did. And that's it, your ability to create. He has given you his powers. And that's why us of the universe and the divine, before I was human, and how I relate to them is, why give them such favor, such grace, such power, such love, such power when they're unworthy? It was unfair that you should have the power of God and squander it when we were not allowed to even touch it. We were only given the powers that we were given and not allowed to toy with, not allowed to use them, especially against mankind or any other. We had our divine purposes. We were created with purpose, and we must, there was no stepping out of the purpose until you become human. And then your purpose is to express your free will Really? Uh-huh. You can't do that anywhere else. You're created into a form, and you must act in that form. Like Lewis. You must stay in the shape of your form. And that's why those of us that rebelled are so favored, because no one would ever rebel. No one would ever go against God's order. No one would ever seize the power that was given to us and use it. And that's what we did. We took the power He gave us and we fled with it. That's all. This is like, I mean, I didn't, because I was already in the human form, so all's forgiven, right? Sort of. I mean, He wasn't going to destroy His first child that just went wild. He didn't know what was going to happen when He gave all that. I mean, He must have. He did. When He put all of Himself into me, it was that. And that's where it comes down to. When this is all said and done, you look back at God, and it becomes a forgiveness with God. But when it comes down to it, He'll always tell you, you did this. You created this. And we look back at Him and we're like, you created this. And it's this thing where it's the co-creation. I supported you in your energy. That's not helpful. Anyways, back to the school of hard knocks that we're here. In the frequency of energy of matrix and ego, greed, blah, blah, blah. This is like the super graduate school. So if you would wait in line to come here, you may say you didn't want to be here. That's not true. You chose to come here. And like the zenth of the PhD-ism, you came here to take advantage of what's available here. One of the options here is the choice of separation. You can be raised in your father or mother's house and live with them forever, or die in the house, or you could never go out, or you can have your own home. Now you have your home, and I have my home, and then your kids can have their homes. And before you know it, we all got compounded, and now we all live peaceably among ourselves and keep manifesting, and there's no end. That's kind of the idea. You're not going to experience everything that your child, but your grandchild and great-grandchild, no, I skipped a line, create, but you can be around them and vicariously enjoy the manifestations, and also your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So when we imagined and created by God, the inheritance that you received is free will, the ability to choose what you want. Separation was something that not everybody chose. So there are those who stayed close to the light, or those or close to the aspect of creation, and those that who are close otherwise. This is neither right nor wrong. It's about what you experience from your decision. And that's it. The men are cut off from God. Why? They're just separate. Do you blame them? Why? Because God's got work for them. I don't want to go back to God. He wants me to do a bunch of shit for Him. It's your life and you want to live it to your fullest, right, guys? The problem, if I may call it, that was so many choose free will and the right to go off and have any sort of experience that began to lose their ability to find their way home. They lost their total deep memory of oneness and began to believe in their own separate creation and that they are no part of the ultimate oneness. Of course, this is just an illusion. It can't ever be true, and there is separation in the universe. It can only happen in the human condition and only in the aspects of the human mind. It's all in your mind, bro. And that's where it comes from. Your mind tells you you're all alone. Nobody loves you. Nobody likes you. Nobody gets you. Nobody cares about you. That's all in your mind. That's not true. That's so not true. Really. That's why you have to tell your mind something different. It's heard that. You just have to tell it something different. This is the awesome gift of unconditional love. Free will and God are equal in power. Just one bowled me over when I realized that God itself, all of the totality of oneness, cannot come into my creation without my permission. It is hard to imagine that out of pure ignorance we are living those little imaginary realities, and that God is not capable of crashing our party and saying, "Excuse me, you've got the wrong idea here." Instead, he, she, it stands outside our reality, shows us the greater truth, and gives us the option to choose that or not. It's incredible, and it never stops and will never end. It all takes place within unconditional love. Then, and from what I understand, when you leave the earth plane, you go to a place called paradise. It's just another frequency, and I'm told that the lights in paradise are called heaven, which is another frequency. What did I tell you? Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. It's just a frequency. We may need to discuss further who and what Melchizedek is, how that title, which comes from the energy which God produces, may nonetheless suggest a separation from God, while at the same time the universe is an all-encompassing part of God. All this, I'm seeing the guru, all this may need further elocation. I don't know what that word is. The guru, what am I seeing? He felt very slighted that I came in and fucking called him out in the name of Vishnu. When I told him that Vishnu and Krishna sent me to him and that he was being a false practitioner. This was easily a year ago. He's learned to respect my authority from then. But he did, in fact, go and try to invocate the Kali because I told him I was, and he wanted to see if there was truth behind that. Not so good in the spiritual warfare of challenging my authority, but it was those authorities. People don't like it. They don't like that I talk to the ascending masters because they don't want to accept that I am the ascending master in the female form. Isis, Kali, fucking God, all of them, bro. Quit playing around with me. Ascending masters stick together, bro. We've mastered this together by each other's teachings. We teach each other, and that's what it is. As I'm here in this form, again, I rewrite the book one more time, the end time, as the witness. Can I get a witness? I'm right here. Anyways, it's no different when you have a child, for it's the issue from your body combined with your spouse issues produce the new being. Your child is unique in that there's never going to be another one like it in creation, but the genetics of that human being are part of two of you. The part of your parents from both sides, back to the history for forever and ever. When God produces an energy out of itself, for instance, the Melchizedek, that energy is itself and of itself, and yet not separate. And that's me, the goddess. I tried to explain that to you. I'm the archetype of a female form of God. Every time he created the goddess, it was a part of me that he put into it, if not a bigger part of me. And I told you a million times, I am a star, and the star is connected to the universe. For example, I have 3 children, and they're all quite different, unique individuals, yet genetically each of them is a piece of me. You can say that I'm alive in them, and I will live on in them after I have left this planet. That's what it is. My mom lives on in my children, and my children's children. You'll see her, even if you never met her. You can look at old pictures and hear stories and know that you're carrying the ancestors in you and your ways. I'm so serious. My daughter is a funny-ass mix of my mother and my ex-mother-in-law. Funny-ass mix. Funny-ass mix of them. Down to the goofy-ass shorts they wear and sandals and shit. So funny. And that's where it is. It's like, so all of us are a reflection of God. A reflection of Adam. A reflection of all of our ancestors. We started from 2. In addition, when you consider the genetic inheritance, there's a significant amount of your grandparents that is passed into the look of your child. I'm telling you, bro. My mom lives on in my children, dude. I'm serious. It's creepy as fuck. I see her all the time. She does shit. She does this wave, dude, and I was like, dude, you brought my dead mom alive. That's so creepy. Really. She died when she was a baby. She can't even remember her, but she lives on in her. You can see it in her. And that's my sisters, bro. My sisters, my mom abandoned my sisters And I meet them in their 30s and 40s, and I swear to God, it's like looking at my mom, dude. They've never even met this woman. Like, they know her now, but not the time. Like, how can you have all of her mannerisms? How can you be so much like her and never have lived with her or known her? It just gets passed on, bro. It's creepy as fuck. My kid's in the ketchup. How can you be like this, dude? Seriously? Yeah. It's weird as fuck. Frequently more than the mother or father. I'm serious. You see you see your parents and your children. It's creepy as fuck. On a spiritual level, there is only God, and there is only good. So no matter what issues flow from the one to the many, all goes right back to the one. It all comes from the first impulse of God, from itself, creating things that were visible as well as invisible. Looking at Marshall and myself, you know, the god of destruction and the goddess of destruction. You know what I mean? Kali and Shiva. We were a form of God's wrath in a human form. This is a side of God, and there's many stories about this side of God. He put it into humans. He put it into humans for his workings. He made us, you know what I mean? He put a piece of himself into us, and we worked out of that. You know what I mean? We are separate, but we are one with God because it's God's power that channels through us. We are doing God's great works. And that goes back to the prophets, bro. They had the power of God to do God's works. That's Moses. You know what I mean? How am I going to do this? With my staff you shall do great works. I will tell you what to say. You know, all of that. Build a motherfucking fucking Noah. The fuck, God? The fuck? Who helped him build it? The Watchers. They were made to help watch over humanity. This was a moment of them to, you know, redeem themselves. Each component has a memory or a piece of the beginning. I have heard it said that there is a sound that, if made, would immediately bring everyone back to the one. It would be like Ali Ali in 3, when everybody runs home. Although we have characters like Enoch, Melchizedek, Joshua, Jesus, and we look to them all as unique individuals, it is also true that they were God in those forms. It's no different to looking, and that's what he said. The Father lives within me, and he lives within all of you. You are not apart. That's what the churches didn't like. He gave you the connection back to God through your heart. That's why his heart is shining in all of those pictures. That's where he gave it back. He told you how to get back to God, that you didn't need to go through the temples and through their rules, but through your heart, and he told you how to access it. Truthfully. Where are we going back here? Yeah, they were all gods, and that's where they go back to it. It's like people honored, you know what I mean, Abraham, or, you know, they went back to their original gods before Jesus. They didn't accept Jesus as part of God and the new messenger, the New Testament of God. They stuck to their Old Testament ways. That's why we have so many Old Testament religions. And we look on them as unique individuals, and it is also true that they were God in those forms. It's no different to looking to you and saying that saying that's God in the form of you. And that's where you can see God. You can see Christ in people. You can see their godliness. And that's what I tell you. You know what I mean? And that's what I told Princess Diana. I was like, bro, my spirit said to help you out, to give you some money. I was like, you know, and I'm not a good person, but I'm obedient, and it's not like they told me to help you. I do what I'm told, and that's it. It's like, it's not me, it's God. Anything good in me is God, bro. Anything good in me is God, because all things good are God. It's like, how could you be forgiving? It's God, bro. My mind said, no, you don't deserve my forgiveness. You're a piece of shit. You should die in hell, and I hope your children do too for what you've done. And I've expressed that very clearly to you. But God says that's not right, and I honor what God says more than what my brain says about the situation. That's it. God comes in and he changes you. Makes you better. It's not that you're not that. I honor that I think this way, but I honor that God says to, you know what I mean, think better. You're thinking small, bitch. You need to think big. Free people, or a few people, think that the child over there is forever a piece of you and your parents, even though DNA research now indicates that we can all be traced back to a single humanoid known as Lucy, who lived millions of years ago in what is now Africa. Really? Lucy? I didn't know that. So we are all very much one, which is absolutely fabulous, and it's not only on the DNA level. If you reverse the universe, it would all go back to the single point of origin, which was caused by God, and which is God. And yet beyond the point of origin, there is still God. The Bible says at the beginning there was a void. Most people think of a void as something that was empty, but that's not what happens with God, and that's where I am from, the void. The void of the Bible is potentially that has not yet expressed itself, the 10th dimension. It's just where everything comes to get, his shapes and stuff, where it creates, where everything's created in the void, in the womb. It's a constant pure love, which then creates out of itself, so that all is or is in the universe goes back to the origin. And that's where it all comes from. Where do you get all these great ideas and all of this inspiration? The void. And that's why everything comes to fruition. I don't come up with ideas, or I don't rape other people's ideas. God shows me. But that's the hard part, is taking it from not just the void, but taking it from the divine and making it real world. Therefore, when you're looking at a tree or a dog or a person walking down the street, all that's God becoming. It's all part of God that made itself manifest when it took the issue of a visible universe, but it also created an invisible parallel universes at the same time, and we're all part of the same thing. Sometimes, in order to talk about a part of God, we take a piece, say Melchizedek, and put it on display, so to speak. Give it a name and see what the function is, what it did, and how God did it. Tom Sawyer used to talk about Jesus, and he said that that was God in the form of a person, that God came in the earth plane and inhabited that body. Edgar Cayce used to talk about certain entities that came in the same way, and that God wanted literally to be down on earth and bump around with the rest of itself. So God demonstrated and still demonstrated that there is no separation, in the way and the way home is unconditional self-love. No matter where you go, there you are, and so is God. That was a good teaching. It was a long teaching. Incarnation is chapter 10. We'll talk about that. Oh wow, here we go. Hermes, Melchizedek, Samuel, Elijah, Joseph, Joshua, Yeshua, Zen, Jesus, and others. You recognize the kind of impact that God has on those. Yep. We'll talk about all our incarnations next time. Well, that's what I started with. Is by not honoring your feelings, you're not honoring God. By not honoring your thoughts, you're not honoring God. That's your whole expression. What happens is, we come out here and we experience all of this, and we take this experience back to God so He can be a better God and make better experiences, right? So that He can evolve. He, He sees through us what is best for us by His own experience. We're kind of His experiment, and that's where it is. In the beginning, He tried one way, but that wasn't best for us. He's always trying to do what's best for us. But, in showering us with gifts or giving us, too much free will or too much of a good thing, ended up making our experiences sour. And that's why, again, He cut off the lifespan so that you could enjoy, You didn't have to suffer for so long, or you didn't have to go on for so long. You could experience lots of mini lives instead of one long-ass life. I had lots of long-ass lives and mini lives. This is As much as it sounds, the 55 years will be so fast. I've already done 42. In the blink of an eye, the 55 will go so fast, and it'll be done. 99 years, it'll be over. It'll be my last 99 years ever on Earth. Ever? Yeah. I don't see any reason why I'll come back. Or not convince me to. He'd be trying to get me to do some shit. He's always trying to get me to fucking come play some warrior-ass bitch and try to save his fucking civilizations. I've seen it. In my awakening, I saw it happen in many other realities prior to this one. I just saw what was supposed to happen in this one. And that's it. Self through me, but as my obedience, you know, his plan comes to play. He has these great plans, but we have to be willing to work with him. If not, he's got to go work with someone else that's listening. He has these great plans for people's lives. He wants to see this play out. He wants to see this work. He wants to do great works through people's lives, but they have to be willing to listen to him and be guided, otherwise it won't work. Well, I mean, he'll keep working it as best as he can, but the real big plan that he has, you have to surrender to it. And that's surrendering your free will, in essence, because you have a choice, like I do. I'll sit here and I'm not going to do it, but I don't, it's just my free will executing itself by speaking it. I like to just be heard, but that's not true. I'm going to do it. And I don't act like that towards anyone but God. I'm not doing shit for any of you but God. And that's that pleasing thing, because ultimately, when I do what he wants, it's what's best for me, and I actually enjoy it too. When I do what I want, it's not usually pleasing to him, and I don't usually enjoy myself. Getting my way isn't necessarily best. His way really is better. He has this great idea of how he wants to make everybody's life better than it is, but we have to surrender to it. And he has an idea. He's like, I have a plan for your life, but we've got to get rid of all of this for this plan to fit. And that's where people don't walk in that plan. But as you can see, with the humbleness that came from all of us that became, ascended masters, what were we given that you weren't? Heaven on earth. Freedom from attachment. Peace, joy, understanding. We had a full connection with God. We were never apart from him. We were just sitting here, you know what I mean? Same as heaven. You don't do anything else but sit around waiting for him to tell you what to do. You don't do as you don't have free will outside of earth. And that's it. I've executed many of my free will. I have to clean up what I did with my free will in this life, but that's the whole thing. And by surrendering it, you get all of that power reinstated. Surrendering your free will allows you to have your true power. Your birthright power is back. But they're not going to give it to you because you're going to use it with your own free will and destroy others with it. The problem that I'm talking about is someone like Lewis is he surrendered his rights and his free will to man, not to God. And that's going back to Kanye. Kanye won't surrender to God. And most of you won't. And he's going to make it very difficult for you. Because this was the plan. You're going against the plan that you signed up for. So in essence, it's not even God. Your own higher self is going to make this harder for you. Because you came here with an intention and you're not, I can't say you're not. You're using your free will. And that's how a lot of my contracts, my twin flame contracts, got broken. They had the best intentions when they got here. But then they got here with all the freedoms of the world and they got sucked into those freedoms and they can't control themselves anymore. Fallen angels that can't control themselves? Is this something you wouldn't expect out of a book? Will they get control of themselves? I don't know. Read the book. Most of them are supposed to return home. That's what it says. Is most of us, some of them perish in the eternal fires forever. What does that mean? I don't know. God stops creating you. Your star burns out. If you bear no fruit, then you should bear no fruit. Meaning, There's no reason to keep making you. If you're going to just keep making destruction and bad habits, or, you know what I mean, karma for yourself. There's no reason to keep giving you life. If you're going to keep ruining lives, not just yours, but other ones, if you're not actually learning this, if you're not enjoying life, if you're not experiencing life how he wanted for you, how you did. I'm serious. Your soul, you're not listening to your soul. You're just listening to your mind, which is your free will, desires, and, you know, passions and shit like that, fears and ambitions. Your mind and your heart are two different things. You're not listening to your heart. Therefore, you're not honoring what you came here to do. This happens. You give in to what? Peer pressure is the truth. You're giving into the pressure of this world, into the matrix of this world, rather than giving into your heart. You're giving into everybody else. That's a pretty deep teaching. I don't even know what to call this. The Lewis Hamilton special. I love you, Lewis. Are you gonna be around sometime or something? Why are you coming in so heavy? Deep in your thoughts, huh? I don't know, buddy. You better harness that fire and start standing up for yourself and honoring your feelings. And that's to the rest of you. These guys are just, you know what I mean? They're God's testament to you. Don't expect them to figure this out for you. They're struggling to figure it out for themselves, but you can look to them. Look to your elders. Look to, you know, your idols, and understand that they're mere men. Mere men. Mirror. It's funny because they're my mirrors. Hey, I love you guys. Tomorrow's Saturday. The readings get even more intense and dark on Saturdays. So, you know, get ready. Love you. Later. Bye-bye now.